The views expressed on this program belong to writer and host Travis Cobb. Not LSU, not the Mainship School, not Tiger TV. Just this guy pointing at you. So come at him, lawyers. This is The Update. Welcome to The Update. Oh, I enjoyed my week off from Mardi Gras, but let me tell you, this is what I'd much rather be doing. Reading the stories of the day, confined behind this desk in a suit with a piece of paper. It's much better than roaming the streets of New Orleans with a hand grenade. Anyway, Mardi Gras wasn't the only party going on last week. I present to you the Conservative Poetic Action Conference, otherwise known as CPAC.
I do not like when Congress stills. I do not like their crony dill.
I'm sorry, despite the above clip, my producer is telling me it's actually the Conservative Political Action Conference. Once a year, conservative-minded folk descend upon the place where the big old bad federal government does its most work. A lot of prospective presidential candidates give speeches to rally the base, and then everyone draws straws, and the favorite for 2016 is selected by who grabs the longest straw. It's also known as a straw poll. So who won it this year?
It isn't good enough to pick the lesser of two evils. We must elect men and women of principle and conviction and action who will lead us back to greatness.
Okay, now I'm being told that the straw poll is actually just a poll and attendees vote for the winner. Who knew? Either way, Rand Paul got 31% of the votes. Second place was Ted Cruz with 11%. So 2016 is the year of Rand. Unless, of course, these straw polls don't actually have a bearing on the direction of the Republican Party. Until election year, that is, when Mitt Romney finally won. Anyway, what was the theme of this year's CPAC?
I understand why people come out on this stage and they bang away at President Obama.
Not sure if someone should have told Santorum not to use the phrase bang away. Okay, I am sure that phrasing should have been avoided. But all right, let's see people bang away at the president.
You know, we have long thought and said this president is a smart man. It may be time to revisit that assumption.
A great president would have protected us from the prying eyes of the NSA. A great president would have proclaimed, "I will not abide it. The Constitution will not abide it."
Putin even sent me a present, beautiful present, with a beautiful note. I spoke to all of his people. And, you know, you look at what he's doing with President Obama, he's like toying with him.
We must stop being the opposition movement, and we must become the alternative government movement that will help make the life of every American better, so that they understand what we would do that would be right, not just what the left is doing that is wrong.
Hey, wait a second. That last clip is different from all those other ones. I'm all for a Republican Party that isn't against Washington entirely and stands on principles that stand alone from an opposition movement. So what does that look like?
We must elect the right kind of leaders to represent us in Washington. Leaders who devolve power to the states and not rob them of it.
Will we be bold and proclaim our message with passion, or will we be sunshine patriots retreating under adverse fire? Will we be firm in our convictions, or will we cower, defeated, and meekly dilute our message?
I like being a patriot in the sunshine, though. Of course, the important thing to remember about CPAC is it has little impact on what actually happens in the current administration. Coming up in Missing the Mark, speakers at CPAC talk about how the Obama administration should change their view on Ukraine. Stay tuned.
I was in Moscow a couple of months ago. I owned the Miss Universe pageant, and they treated me so great.
Welcome back to The Update. I have to wonder if he was talking about the Miss Universe models, people in Moscow, or the latest person who bats away jokes from his all-natural hair. And I've just been told that person has been fired. We're talking about CPAC. Most, if not all, of the speakers wish that President Obama could be fired. And this week's Missing the Mark is the way the aim is being taken at the president.
I want you to extrapolate what the world would look like in 10 years if this continues forward. If you inherit a world where the Chinese get to decide who gets to ship products to the South China Sea, and all the countries in that region are tributaries to them. If you inherit a world where North Korea can blow up California or the west coast of the United States with a nuclear weapon.
If it sounds super terrifying, does that mean it's true? Meh, who cares? Say North Korea, Iran, and Russia enough. I think that's the newest axis of evil. It relates poorly to the president. Fortunately for Republicans, President Obama won't be commander-in-chief for 10 more years. Or maybe that's bad, because who else will be the subject of their attacks?
Man, that's just like a liberal on gun control. Mr. President, the only thing that stops a bad guy with a nuke is a good guy with a nuke.
Having witnessed the events abroad these last several days, as we see the president of Russia invade a neighboring country while our president wants to downsize our military, while our president brags about the increased spending on food stamps.
The fact is, we have unloaded our own guns, and across the world, no one trusts us, no one listens to us, no one respects us, and no one fears us.
I think Mike Huckabee was a bit wrong there. There are a lot of people who fear the United States, or at least the path it's headed on. In fact, they're the same ones who talked a big game at CPAC. It's easy to say we have to fight Russia. After all, it's still popular, 22 years after the Cold War ended. And I was born. Coincidence? Yes, absolutely. Point being, this president is doing a lot on Russia, but he's not doing too much. I get what he's doing as a man with equally low approval ratings from corporates. Seriously, watch the show. Diplomacy will work better, instead of alienating a large geopolitical entity. More importantly, if you look at Ukraine, more people than American media would have you think have closer ties to Russia. So it really isn't about what the American president is doing to Vladimir Putin. It's about what backseat drivers say about what the American president is doing to Vladimir Putin. And that's missing the mark. Coming up, a look at Ukraine as the United States and Russia continue to tug of war over a sovereign nation. What's really going on there? Stay tuned.
The State Department is putting in place tough visa restrictions on a number of officials and other individuals. And the United States will not grant visas to those who threaten the sovereignty or territorial integrity of Ukraine.
Welcome back to the update. That solves the immigration problem, right? Those are two completely different things. Okay, I got it. Anyway, we just heard many people talking about Ukraine from CPAC. So let's see what they were talking about.
We are hopeful, Wolf, that the political and economic isolation that Russia faces, not just on the behest of the United States, but in the broader international community, and particularly with Europe standing with us, that with that pathway ahead looking unattractive, to say the least, that President Putin can become part of the solution here and pull back his forces from Crimea.
I've seen this story. It's a familiar one. United States athletes, along with many other countries, visit Mother Russia. Everyone has a great time for a couple of weeks. They're stoked. Then it's time to leave summer camp. I mean the Olympics. And every country wants to move on with their lives. Except, oh, Russia. They've gone and gotten attached to their new friends. And when the Facebook friend request went unresponded, Russia showed up at Ukraine's door and took the situation to a point where all the other countries had to say, whoa, too far, bro. Two questions. Why can't it be the Olympics forever? And does Facebook diplomacy translate to complex foreign policy?
Now, Europe joins us in absolutely believing that we are all better served by getting back to a normality and a stability that will come through good diplomacy and good efforts to try to find a path forward.
So everyone is now trying to work with Putin. I am absolutely certain that is going to go well.
So far, we have not seen signs that he's prepared to take the de-escalatory ramp that is available to him.
Leave it to Ukraine, then? Just maybe? Could it be possible that this situation is one that the Ukrainian people are able to speak for themselves without an international backlash caused by the 80s classic hits from Soviet Russia versus Ronald Reagan? Pardon my messed up metaphor, this Cold War disappeared right before I was born. Coincidence? Still yes.
Well, we have made clear today, as have many countries around the world, that this referendum would be illegal under the terms of the Ukrainian Constitution, illegal under international law. Any such referendum would have to occur under the Ukrainian Constitution across the entirety of Ukraine and not just in a sub-region like this.
I guess not. Friend request blocked. Who uses Facebook anymore anyway? Get on the Twitter. Thanks for watching this week. You can catch more of the update on the Tiger TV website. First, you got to grab your computer. Then you press HTTP, and then a colon, and then a /, and then another /, and then I think it's lsureveille.com/tigertv.tv, something like that. And then you got to follow the Twitter at TTV Update, or you can do the personal one that was just up there at TravisCop5. That's all for the show. Go update yourself.